whom we forever thank for giving us as our leader and teacher, the one who's in America, in the person of the most honorable and humble Elijah Muhammad. I want to thank Brother Benjamin out at the outstart for doing a wonderful job at opening up our eyes, giving us a good preliminary basic understanding of the aims and the objectives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And also, I'm thankful to Allah for seeing so many out here tonight, especially just before Christmas. You know, it's next to a miracle when you get this many of our people together so close to Christmas, interested in anything whatsoever that's serious. And actually what this shows is the change that's taking place among the so-called Negroes, not only here in New York, but throughout America, throughout the entire world. Throughout the entire world today, dark mankind is waking up and undergoing a new type of thinking. And this new type of thinking is creating new approaches and new reactions that make it almost impossible to figure out what the black man is going to do next. And by black man, we mean, as we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we mean that this includes those who are not white. He teaches us that black is the basic color in all colors. Black is the foundation or the basis. And all of our people, or all of the people who have not yet become white, are still black, or are at least part of the black nation. So here at Muhammad's Mosque, when you hear us use the term black, we mean everybody who's here. Despite your complexion, if you're here at the mosque, you're black. Because the only ticket you need to get into Muhammad's Mosque is to be black. So if you got in, you know you're black. You may not have known you were black before you came here. In fact, very few of our people really look upon themselves as being black. They think of themselves as practically everything else on the color spectrum except black. And no matter how dark one of our people may be, you never hear him call himself black. But now that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been teaching among the so-called Negroes, you find our people at all complexions running around here bragging about, I'm a black man. Well, this shows you that a new teaching is taking place and that there is new thinking among the so-called Negroes. If just yesterday you would have to admit that it was very difficult to get our people to refer to themselves as black, and then now all of a sudden you find all of us of all complexions not apologizing for being black, but bragging about being black. Well, there's a new thinking that has sprung up here in America among the so-called Negroes. And the one who is actually the author of this new thinking is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is what he is teaching that's making our people for the first time proud to be black. And of all, for the first time, it makes our people want to know more about black, want to know why black is good, or what there is about black that's good. I might stop right here to point out, some of you may say, well, I come out here to listen to some religion of Islam, and all I hear you talking about is black. We don't separate our religion from our color, nor do we separate our color from our religion. The white man doesn't. The white man never has separated Christianity from white, nor has he separated white from Christianity. When you hear the white man bragging about, I'm a Christian, he's bragging about he's a white man. And the average Negro, when you hear him bragging about he's a Christian, he's bragging about he's a white man. Or he wants to be white. And usually those Negroes who brag like that, I think you'll have to agree, their songs and the things that they sing in church bear out that they have a greater desire to be white than anything else. My mother was a Christian, and father was a Christian. And I used to hear them when I was a little child sing songs, Wash Me White as Snow. My father was a black man, and my mother was a black woman. But yet the songs that they sang in their church were designed to fill their heart with a desire to be white. So many people, especially our people, they would get resentful to hear us say something like this. But then, rather than get resentful, all they have to do is think back over the many of the songs and much of the teaching and the doctrine that they were taught while they were going to church, and they'll have to agree that it was all designed to make us look down at black and up at white. So the religion that we have, the religion of Islam, the religion that makes us Muslims, the religion that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching us here in America today, is designed to undo in our mind what the white man has done to us. It's designed to undo the type of brainwashing that we had to undergo for 400 years at the hands of the white man in order to bring us down to the level that we're on today. So when you hear us when you hear us often refer to black and almost in a boastful way, and actually we're not boasting, we're speaking of it in a factual sense, all we're doing is telling the truth about our people. Whenever you exalt black, that's not propaganda. When you exalt white, that's propaganda. Because no one can give biological evidence that there is any basis to elevate white or place white above everything else. But you can give biological evidence to show where black actually is the stronger and the superior of the two, if you want to make that kind of comparison. So never think ill of the person whom you hear representing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad if an overemphasis seems to be placed upon black, but rather sit and analyze and try and get an understanding. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that of all the things the black man can study, or any man can study for that matter, history is best qualified to reward all research. You have to have a knowledge of history no matter what you're going to do. Anything that you undertake, you have to have a knowledge of history in order to be successful in it. The thing that has made the so-called Negro in America fail more so than any other thing is your and my lack of knowledge concerning history. We know less about history than anything else. There are black people in America who have mastered the mathematical sciences, have become professors and experts in physics, are able to toss Sputniks out there in the atmosphere, out in space. They're masters in that field. We have black men who have mastered the field of medicine. We have black men who have mastered other fields. But very seldom do we have black men in America who have mastered the knowledge of history of the black man himself. They are experts. We have among our people those who are experts in every field. But seldom can you find one from among us who is an expert on the history of the black man. And because of his lack of knowledge concerning the history of the black man, no matter how much he excels in these other sciences, he's always confined. He's always relegated to the same low rung of the ladder that the dumbest of our people are relegated to. And all of this stems from his lack of knowledge concerning history. What made Dr. George Washington Carver a Negro scientist instead of a scientist? What made Paul Robeson a Negro actor instead of an actor? What made Ralph Bunche, or makes Ralph Bunche a Negro statesman instead of a statesman? The only difference between Bunche and Carver and these others whom I just mentioned, they don't know the history of the black man. Bunche is an expert, an international politician, a politician on the international level, but Bunche doesn't know himself. He has no knowledge of the history of his own people. He can be sent all over the world by America to solve problems for America, or to solve problems for other nations, but he can't solve problems for his own people in this country. Why? What is it that ties our people up in this way? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says it boils down to just one word: history. When you study the history of Bunche, his history is different from the history of the black man who just comes here from Africa. And if you notice, Bunche was in Atlanta, Georgia during the summer NAACP convention. He was Jim Crowed. He was segregated. He was not allowed to go in a hotel down there. Yet there are Africans who can come here black as night and go in some of these cracker hotels. Well, what is the difference between Bunche and one of them? The difference is Bunch doesn't know his history, and they, the Africans, do know their history. They may come here out of the jungles, but they know their history. They may come here wearing sheets with their head all wrapped up, but they know their history. You and I can come out of Harvard, but we don't know our history. And the basic difference in why we are treated as we are, one knows his history and one doesn't know his history. The American Negro doesn't know his history. The American so-called Negro is a soldier who doesn't know his history. He's a servant in America who doesn't know his history. He's a graduate from Harvard or Columbia or Yale or Howard or Tuskegee who doesn't know his history. And because he doesn't know his history, he's confined. He's limited. He's held under the control and the jurisdiction of the white man who knows more about the history of the Negro than the Negro knows about himself. But when you and I wake up, as we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and learn our history, learn the history of our kind as well as the history of the white kind, then then the white man is at a disadvantage and we're at an advantage. The only thing that puts you and me at a disadvantage is our lack of knowledge concerning history. So one of the reasons, one of the missions, one of the objectives of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad here in America is not only to teach you and me the right religion, but to teach you and me history. In fact, do you know that if you and I know history, we know the right religion? The only way right now that you can become confused, become mixed up, and not know which religion belongs to God is if you don't know history. In fact, you have to know history to know something about God. You have to know history to know something about God's religion. You have to know history to know something about God's people. You have to know history to know something about God's plans and God's purposes. And as I say, the only people who don't know history are the American so-called Negroes. If you know history, for an example, whenever you look at this religion right here, the only way you can explain it is to have a knowledge of history. Why is it called Christianity? It's called Christianity, they say, because it was named after a man called Christ, who was born 2,000 years ago. Now, you know, brothers and sisters, God is an old God, and the world is an old world. The universe has been here a long time. I think all of you will agree that the universe has been here longer than 2,000 years. And you'll also agree that the universe was made by God himself. And God created the universe. God created the people who are on this earth. God wouldn't create a universe. God wouldn't put a sun up in the sky and make 9 planets rotate around it, all of them inhabited. You and I inhabiting the planet Earth upon which we live. God wouldn't have done all of this and not given people a religion. God puts his religion here at the creation of the universe. God's religion is as old as the universe. In fact, God's religion is older than the universe. Now then, since you agree to this and you also agree that Christ was born 2,000 years ago, which means Christianity is only 2,000 years old, this couldn't have been God's religion. If your knowledge of history shows you that God couldn't call his religion Christianity, because Christianity is only 2,000 years old. So if this is the case, then what is God's religion called before the birth of Christ? Can you see the importance of history? Why, if you didn't know history, you'd think that this was God's religion. And you'd be running around here practicing this, wondering why everybody doesn't practice this. Because some people have a better knowledge of history than others do. It is only the people whose knowledge of history is limited who try and jump up and say that Christianity is the name of God's religion. If Christianity hasn't always been the name of God's religion, it now isn't the name of God's religion. God doesn't change the name of his religion. God doesn't even change his religion. God doesn't change his mind. God's mind is made up from the beginning. He doesn't have to change his mind because he knows all there is to know all the way down the wheel of time. He never has to change his mind. His mind is made up. His knowledge is complete. It's all encompassing. Do you understand? So, once you can see, and I think you can, that it's almost impossible for God to call this his religion. What did God call his religion? Christians are the ones who call God's religion Christianity, but God was here before Christians came on the scene. They tell you that the Christians had their beginning back there with the Romans. One of the Roman emperors who supposedly accepted the teachings of Jesus' disciples and then named what the disciples taught Christianity. But Jesus didn't even call it Christianity. This wasn't named this until 200 or 300 years after Jesus was dead. Right or wrong? Any history book will tell this. Any Bible will tell this. Any religion, any theologian should have a knowledge of this. And the only Negroes who will contend with this are those who don't know history. And most Negroes don't know history. And most Negroes will contend with it. But when you tell it to the white man, he shuts his mouth. Because he knows that this is true. So then those who have studied a little deeper, they'll say, well, before God called Israel, before it was called Christianity, it was called Judaism. Isn't this what they say? Named after a man called Judah. This right here doesn't follow logic. If Christianity became named this after Christ was born, and before Christ was born the religion was called Judaism, then that means that this got its name from the son of Jacob, whose name was Judah. But history tells us that Jacob was serving God before Judah was born, which shows us that Jacob's religion couldn't have been Judaism, and Isaac was Jacob's father. He was serving God also before Jacob, his son, was born. Isaac was Judah's grandfather, and Abraham was Judah's great-grandfather, meaning Abraham was on the scene long before Judah came on the scene. Now, you couldn't call Abraham's religion Judaism, because there was no such thing as Judaism in Abraham's day. There was no such thing as Judaism in Isaac's day, or in Jacob's day. Do you understand? So what was God's religion before they called it Judaism? And this is something that the white man has never taught you and me. The white man is afraid to let you and me know what God's religion was called in Abraham's day, because Abraham was supposed to have been known as the father of all of them. He was supposed to be the progenitor of all of them. He's supposed to be one of God's first servants. One of the first to submit to God is supposed to be Abraham. Now, if you can see this, then find out what was Abraham's religion. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us Abraham's religion was the religion of Islam. Islam only means complete submission to God, complete obedience to God. Abraham obeyed God. Abraham obeyed God so much so that when God told Abraham to take his son and sacrifice him, stick a dagger in his heart. Is that what he told him? Abraham took his only son up on the mountain and was going to sacrifice him to God, showing you that he believed in Islam. What does Islam mean? Obey God. Submit to God. Here, if you notice, has no connection, no association with the birth of a man. This is not a man's name. This doesn't come from a man. This comes from a man. Buddhism was named after a man called Buddha. Confucianism was named after a man called Confucian. Right, or Confucius, right or wrong. Likewise with Judaism and Christianity. But Islam is not connected with any man. Islam is independent of any man. Islam is an act, which means submit completely to God or obey God. And when you say your religion is Islam, that means you're a Muslim. So, to clarify this, what must you do? You must have a knowledge of history. If you don't have a knowledge of history, you run around calling yourself a Christian, swearing you're for serving God. Or you run around saying that your religion is Judaism, you swear you're serving God. If your religion is Christianity, you follow in Christ. If your religion is Judaism, you follow in Judah. If your religion is Buddhism, you follow in Buddha. Do you understand? And they're all dead. And if you follow them, you'll die too. This is where it leads you. Wherever your leader is, that's what happens to you. Now, we who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we believe in Islam. We don't believe in Muhammad. We believe in Islam. He teaches us the religion of Islam. Do you understand the difference? These people they believe in Christ. They believe Christ is God. Oh yes, they do. That he was born of the Blessed Virgin. That's what they believe. Didn't have a father, just a spirit. And then came into the world and was crucified and rose from the dead and went up into space. They believe that. But they believe that because they don't know history. But you'll find the people, if you notice, the Jews have a greater knowledge of history than the Christians do. Do they not? The Christian history only goes back 2,000 years. The history of the Jews go back beyond 4,000 years. Can you see this? And the Muslim history goes back. There's no limit to the Muslim history. If you notice, the Christians can only go back to what they call the Greek Empire. Usually they go back to that's what they call the Occidental, the beginning of the Occident, the Greek Empire, Roman Empire, and so forth. The Jews have a knowledge of history that goes back into Egypt and Babylon. You notice how they all go back farther than the other. But now the Muslim history goes back. It has no limit. There are no chains on how far you can go back when you're a Muslim. The Christian and the Jew combined go back to whom? To Adam. And they stop right there. And they say beyond him there was nothing happening. Well, this is because they don't know. But the more history there's on it, the greater their knowledge of history is, this has an influence on the type of religion that they accept.
মানবিক দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকেই এই হিজড়াদের জন্য তৃতীয় লিঙ্গীদের জন্য এই মাদ্রাসাটা করা হয়েছে, কারণ এরা সমাজে চরমভাবে অবহেলিত। কোনো স্কুল, কলেজ, ইউনিভার্সিটি, মাদ্রাসা, কোনো শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানে যেতে পারে না। তো সেই দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকেই দেখি যে এরা বাইরে এলোমেলো চলাফেরা করে। এদের উশৃঙ্খল জীবনযাপনের জন্য দায়ী আমরা, কারণ আমরা এদেরকে শিক্ষা দিতে পারি নাই। তো সেই মানবিক দৃষ্টিকোণ থেকে এই প্রতিষ্ঠানটা করা হয়েছে। ইনশাআল্লাহ ধারাবাহিকভাবে আমরা ঢাকা সিটির বিভিন্ন জায়গায় আমরা এই কেন্দ্র চালু করেছি এবং আমরা আশা করছি যে অল্প সময়ের মধ্যে সারা দেশব্যাপী আমাদের এই কার্যক্রম ইনশাআল্লাহ চালু করব।
যে মহান আল্লাহ পাকের অশেষ রহমতে আমরা আজকে কোরআন শরীফের শিক্ষা নিয়েছি, এই কারণেই আমরা এখানে এসেছি আজকে এই কোরআনের শিক্ষাটাকে নেওয়ার জন্য। আমাদের জন্য বিভিন্ন জায়গায় বিভিন্ন রকমভাবে অবহেলিত আমরা, কিন্তু এখানে এসে আমাদের জন্য একটা মাদ্রাসা করে দেওয়া হয়েছে। আল্লাহর কাছে লাখ লাখ শুকরিয়া আদায় করছি যে আমাদের জন্য একটা মাদ্রাসা করে দিয়েছে।
If you're Muslim in Malaysia's capital Kuala Lumpur and you're planning a wild night, think twice. The religious police are coming. It's midnight and the team hit the streets. They're heading to a potential crime scene. It's a budget hotel.
We have received complaints from the public that there are an offences which is relates to close proximity.
The lead officer tells me being alone with someone you're not married to can be a crime. Are we in the area now?
Yes, we are in the area.
They scour the list for Muslim names. They're going to check that couples who are in a room together have a marriage certificate. Malaysia has two sets of laws, civil and Sharia, which applies to Muslims, 2/3 of the population. The police are not allowed to force entry. If the guests don't open the door, there's nothing they can do.
Stop over there. Smile. So no one can see.
But the officers are persistent, and finally, the door opens. The religious police have caught a man and a woman alone together.
We are suspect that they are going to do something in order to
Have sex, basically.
but obviously that we will arrest them and bring them to our office for the investigation.
The young couple are arrested and taken to the station for questioning. If found guilty, they may face up to 2 years in prison. On one hand, you want to be respectful of another person's culture, and then on the other hand, you remember being 24 years old and you think, can it really be possible for me as an adult now to be under arrest for being in a hotel room with my girlfriend? They continue the search. Over the last 30 years, Sharia, or Islamic law, has reached into the most intimate aspects of the lives of Malaysia's Muslim citizens. The officer leading the patrol tells me about one of their main targets.
Men pose as women.
You mean transgender people?
Yes, not transgender.
Okay.
So
what do you
we
do?
got to prevent that kind of bad behavior.
The officers head to an area known for its transgender sex workers, the most visible members of a community who are born one gender but live as another.
You see that?
They were running away.
We are not able to arrest them if we are in the house. You see?
Running up the stairs.
Running upstairs.
It's a game of cat and mouse. What's more?
Rasul sering melambatkan nah, kan kita bisa membayangkan kan jatuh kepalanya kemudian terangkat kembali kan. Kita ini kan manusia yang punya hak untuk beribadah itu saja kan.
She says, we're human too. We have our right to pray.
Ingin beribadah itu saja. Itu sudah.
We simply want to pray, and that's enough for us.
Cukup buat kami bahwa biarlah kami ini sudah sengsara hidupnya. Sudah terlunta-lunta, sudah di.
We're already living tough lives. We're displaced. We're scorned.
Hina-hina, sudah di. Biarlah kami hanya ingin
We
beribadah.
just want to
Dan
pray.
itu.
And we have got a competent imam as well.
Kita juga punya ustadz yang mumpuni dan udah yang menerima.
Who accepts that there are transgender people in the world.
Bahwasanya di dunia ini ada waria yang bisa harus dibimbing.
Who need guidance and teaching. Alright, brothers and sisters, it's Shy. I'm coming on to the assembly, and I would address a few things, kind of edify a few things, and clarify a few things. For the past week, I've been going through some marital personal differences, some emotional differences, and some reflection on my life, my future. And I came to the realization that positivity is illusion. But faith, hope, and love is something real. Everything has a positive and negative in life. There isn't anyone haven't met, I'll say, that has had an easy path in life. And the Most High give us all, I would say, different streets, different gateways to go through, different circumstances. But one thing we all got in common is that we have to live in this world. Once we're born into it, we have to live in it. Our choice was taken away from us when our mothers decide to have us, or if they decide not to. Regardless if we're here, they chose to have us. So, at the end of the day, we look at that as positivity, which it is. It's given life. Life is an experience. But it comes with many trials, many temptations, many downfalls, many burdens. I do not hate transgender people. I do not hate homosexuals. I do not hate lesbians. And I do not hate adulterers. But one thing we must all take accountability for is our choices, our decisions. We may didn't have the choice or decision to let things happen to us, or another person responds, or what they choose to put on us, but we have the right to stand up for our morality. We have a right to stand up to keep our heart. We have a right to fight to the end on anything we stand for. But know that whatever you standing on, let it be solid. Let it be a foundation. Let it be something meaningful. Let it be something purposeful. Let it inspire others. Leave something that can create hope, love, and faith in others. When you've done all you can do is stand. And that's where I'm at, brothers and sisters, at this point. It's just standing and taking all the blows and absorbing it. And if it be my death, then guess what? I can say I died and I stand on my morality. To fight against the evil forces, to fight against the evil thoughts, to fight against the negativity, to say yes, it is faith. There is hope. There is love. No matter if I ever got it back in return, I'm going to always tell myself that it is a God. There is a higher source. There is someone that loves me, regardless if my neighbor, my spouse, or my family don't. Sometimes it's easy to say that, oh, I love you. It's so easy to say words out your mouth. It's easy to disguise yourself into good. It's easy to disguise yourself into bad. But God knows us all and knows our core being and what we do things for and why we do it. I'm not here to just put all my things on the table. I'm not here to confess everything. I gave you enough of me and myself and what I stand on. One thing we all can say is that we have a moral decision. In slavery, we always had a moral decision. Now, we have a moral decision to make for our souls. Yes, there are kids that have been molested, raped, torn, emotional abuse, physical abuse, as well as any women and children. But what I want y'all to know is that you still have a choice for your morality. You still have a choice for your soul. The most I say, I heal, I make alive, I tear up. He has says all these things in His wisdom. He has gave us His wisdom. His wisdom is His love. For His law is Him. He is master craftsman. He is supreme being. His authority, His masculinity will not change. Because that's what makes us exist. That's what gives us strength. He's a forever endurer. He's going to be forever energy source for us all. For we all need that masculine strength. We all need that. Even the toughest of any woman still need that masculine strength. Spiritually, emotionally. Because we all can get tore down. We need that strength of a woman. We need that wisdom of strength. We need that humbleness. We need that love. We need that wisdom for us to get by in life. But what has happened with man traditions and religion, it has taught us to deny our very spirit, deny our very morality, the thing that makes us pure as we was when we were children. Our hearts. For what? Things that we can get of the world. Objects that we can have. You don't have to sell your soul and your life to get anything to get by. You don't need to sell your body. You don't need to make yourself lower, intelligent, wise to make somebody feel comfortable. These things you are created to be, and you rise above and you stand on it to your death. I admire Tupac. I admire Malcolm X. Brothers may didn't have all the knowledge in the world, but who do? Who do? I admire these young brothers to choose to go out with whatever moral knowledge that they had to stand on, regardless if it was attacks, regardless if it was life-threatening, and regardless if it was fearful moments at times and weary, and regardless if they had to do it alone. They stood on something, and I require everybody to stand on something of moral knowledge, which is the Most High wisdom. He created His Spirit for this purpose, to give us the instructions and the things that the Most High don't like, to give us the paths of love, to know what's surety, what's safe, what can harm us. But when we reject that spirit of correction, when we reject that motherlism, wisdom of strength to give us that, when we are faced with difficult trials to make concerning our heart, our mind, and our soul, that is His love. But if we reject the very thing that can help us, because we're looking at the image and we're looking at that, we just want to discard the image of God. We're not listening. We're not taking advice because it's feminine. That's just like in a household. Most kids will not take heed when a mother is disciplined. She has to say things maybe several times to her daughter or her son. You know, it's a more struggle to fight to get them install these principles and values of wisdom. You know, but a dad can come in and do it so easily with discipline, with force. Why? Because it was set up to be that way. But as you know, this has been a fatherless generations and generations after time, with not too much masculinity standing up, and when it does, it's only in a 1 or 2 or 3. It's not a collective as whole that fights against this war that we have as an individual whole in our nation, to bag mother wisdom up, to apply that instruction that's needed, you know, to love her, to keep her, to embrace her. We don't do that anymore. We completely divorced the moral code and went off knowledge itself. We have the good and evil knowledge. We have world knowledge. And then we have the Father knowledge, which is moral knowledge, which comes with two being one. It's your choice what you want to listen to. It's your choice of what path you want to go. But my brothers and sisters, I'm letting you know that we were going to die anyway. Our sins and the things that Christ told us, that through the woman's sin came, so sacrifice has to be made. We all get one life to live, as Solomon describes, or the author describes in ECCLESIASTICUS. But one thing we can do, we can go out which way we want to. We can choose to stand on something that is internal. We can choose to stand on something that is more knowledge, that is more wisdom, that will give the hope and inspiration to the youth and the children that's behind them. But when we don't look at it in that perspective, and we be all selfish and we focus on now, or be selfish focusing on our own things of gain and materials, or out in the world doing our things, being hormones, adulterers, stealing, being in all our depth of sin, we forget about the children. We forget about the youth. We forget about longevity. We forget about the future. Because wisdom sees the future. Wisdom never changed, just like more knowledge never changed, the Father. But we can't keep separating two, for they are one. So we must put them together to understand, what do we see in life? What do we make of this reality? And I'm here to tell you that we do manifest and we do create and we do get to choose our reality. My greatest sacrifice I can give is to give you my spirit, to give you all the things that I see that has not been given to our nation. When I feed the flock, I'm feeding it with more knowledge. I'm giving it wisdom. I'm giving it truth. I'm going to say that you can get out of your sin. I'm not going to feed your sin. I'm not going to tell you things that make you feel comfortable to be in your sin. I'm going to show you I can be here with you too. I can help you up. I can pick you up. But you must be able to pick yourself up. For I'm not in your body. I don't make your choice for you. But do I start with one soul and waste my time on one soul? when there's many, many others that's waiting on the call that I must go. So with that being said, I am willing to give it to the world. I'm willing to give to anyone that here. Through technology, we all can be interactive for right now with quarantine and COVID going on. Even if it's passed or it don't pass, I will continue to do what my purpose or what the Most High told me to do, because I chose this route. I chose to deny the world, to leave that image of woman alone of the world, to drain myself. It drained me. It drained me. Not so much physically, but spiritually and emotionally, because I'm a woman. I chose to pick up my purpose that the Creator's told me to do, and not go off of what somebody else want me to do, because it seems so fitting with everybody's agendas of get up, go take care of your child, go do this, go do that. But when am I taking care of my spiritual emotional needs? So I use work as a hiding up of dealing with a lot of past and childhood trauma and things that I've been through as well. And I see that those issues still lies because I never really truly dealt with them. I used everything else to kind of, overlook that because I had nothing but myself. I had nobody telling me, hey, it's going to be all right. You get up, you keep on going. No, I had nothing but criticism. Nothing but people looking in on my sin and talking behind my back and backbiting and telling what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with. And, oh, she thinks she's perfect, this and this and that. I've only had that in my life. Of anything that I do wrong, had to be on a strict, tight road with my mother being a Christian. And it really harmed in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? But I love a challenge. I love to perfect myself because that's me. But when it came to the point where I had to choose my morality of the world because so much pressure was being put on me to be something that I'm not, I just gave up and chose to live in my purpose that I know I am. That I've had this for so long because I knew I wasn't going to be accepted. But I've already went through them paths of darkness. I already been that sinner. I've already killed my beings, mingled my wine, so I'm fine. I come out of that. I'm a new light. I'm a new being. I ain't perfect. I still deal with smoking my tobacco here and there, my black and miles. I do not smoke cigarettes no more. I do not smoke chemical things. I am glad to even be leveled up from that bondage. I do not, look for anything of any pleasure to feed me, to help me. I don't do anything far as me and live and be who I am. And take care of the children, love the children. Wake up every day looking for ways that I can be better in spirit. Looking for ways that I can please the Most High. Looking for ways to better myself with the little time that I have left. Looking back on all the time I wasted with working my whole youth. I started working at 16. And I'm 27. So it's like I spent my whole youth, basically just a year and a half ago is when I kind of just winged back and just been back. But majority of my youth, I focus on working so much. And also being a single mother for 6 years of that, of a disabled child where his father's left. He's in the world, he's in his sin, and he do whatever. In prison now. Never really had that support from the get-go. Never really had that. But I didn't let it make it bitter. I was defiled by a sodomite. I was questioning my faith at many times with men and be like, do I even trust anymore after that? It's hard to trust because how someone could tell you they love you, but they're dealing with something that is very much of abomination. They're dealing with their sinful ways of fornication, adultery. All of it stem from the root of the spirit of lust at the end of the day. And so inflicting their things on me, it really hurted me because I didn't want to be in that. Neither did I want to see my neighbor or the one I love in that either. So I had to make a choice for my soul. And I had to let go a lot of people because of just morality decisions. Because after dealing with that so long, if you become a victim and you become to just let down your whole guard and just say it's okay, you're going to become a product. And then you're going to soon become a scorner. And now you're just right there at hell and you just can't get out. So I've been there with that tug of war with battling demons, battling things on other, battling myself. And I'm here today to say that I'm not even so much perfect. I'm just complete now as far as my faith. I accepted it. I accept anything that comes with me standing on the truth, or me expressing anything of my being, or me expressing any of the things I go through, because people don't want me to suffer in silence. For so long, I just set up this channel August 2020. For so long I've been suffering in silence. For so long I've been turning the other cheek. For so long I've been letting people just talk about me with their tongue. All these spiritual wounds that I have inside of my heart. And so I'm tired, because now this is everywhere all over the world. And I'd rather go back to my maker than even live in a world like this. If I gotta compromise my morality, I choose death. Why? Because there's nothing else. I can't make myself be evil. For Christ said, don't you know an evil tree cannot bring forth good fruit, and neither can a good tree bring forth evil fruit? So in a way, we're born of who we are. Now, I've never been that type. I've always had the heart and spirit I had since birth. Okay, fell a victim to certain things and certain products, but I picked myself back up. I didn't have that extra strength. The only thing I knew was of something inside that told me to keep going. You are loved. You are blessed. You do have something. They can't see what's inside of you you're trying to give. But hopefully, maybe one day they'll understand. Maybe one day they'll understand the commandments, love thy neighbor. They'll understand these spiritual laws that protect us from the emotional bitterness that we can become, and then come scornful if we don't deal with it. My husband all the time, he says sometimes that I'm bitter. Although you may know a lot of wisdom from reading these books, and you have seeked on your own, one thing you can't tell me is you can't tell me how it is to be a woman. You can read the word, what it says, what's inside a woman. You can read it and say get you some understanding about wisdom. But one thing you still can't do is jump in my body and tell me how it feels of expressing it. How to know what my mind and my heart and my body is really truly at. I can give you that. But it comes to a point where, can you accept your faults? Can you accept your part of the agreement? You know, am I supposed to continue to be this and keep getting stomped on? For I had to do it with many people. It's not a argument. It's just accepting what a person stand on. And this is why it was so important for you to agree before marriage. It was important for you to keep the law and commandments both. See, it doesn't even work when one is doing it and another one's not. That's why we're at this state. Because it takes two individuals, for as a man and a woman in our nation is black, to actually strive on accord together. It's not going to be all peaches and cream and perfect, but it shouldn't be so all emotional and disaster either. It's a balance. But if you don't have agreements with concerning the word itself, then ain't nothing else is going to fall apart. I mean, ain't nothing else going to fall into part with everything that it should be. But we must be truthful to ourselves, my husband. Just like I tell you, you must be true to yourself first. You must judge yourself first. For I'm doing the same. But know that I am the woman and you are the male, as you say. So this is not by image. It takes more than just us being genital with a vagina and with you having a penis. And so, yeah, we by birth that. Yeah, we by birth these genders. But it's a certain tasks and objectives and things that we have to do according to the word to fulfill that covenant with the Most High. Because he gave us this. He's in the middle of our marriage. We're supposed to submit to that together. So if we're not on accord with that, with God, God will call us unequally yoked. He will say that's not being in agreement. That's not even agreeing to what his covenant is. So what is it to his eyes? Is it ordained or is it not? You know, and he moves obstacles off our path for a reason. He gets us to understand through many, many ways. But if we can't agree on the basic foundation of the word and that one truth, then it's never going to be right. And I would love to share that with y'all, because a lot of people are going through it. A lot of marriages, a lot of relationships, a lot of things is coming to the place and the foresight of a lot of people. And I hope a lot of realization coming in with this word to help you understand is why it's true. Why did we need it? Why did Israel need these law commandments? Why the curses fell upon us in the first place? It's always the beginning, right? We got to always go back to that beginning, because truly that's what's true. And that's what's real. And that's what's going to keep us going. But I just asked for my husband, that you give me a little space a little bit. And I'll give you a little space a little bit. For it's okay to fast to separate. Separate to fast. It's okay to get to our space and that we need. But if you're dealing with brokenness, you're dealing with so much childhood stuff, like I said, I cannot hold your hand every step of the way. I can only be your help and your guide, as I'm supposed to be, in the form of wisdom. I still will want the same thing that I am required to have inside of a man or a husband that any other woman should get. The difference is I'm not headstrong. I'm not a worldly, material person, lies. You don't got to do all these things to satisfy me. What's satisfying me is if you submit and own up to your part of the agreement. That would satisfy me. I would be pleased with that. Because I'm pleased with God right now. He's working on me. I was pleased with my relationship with him before I met you. I was pleased with it because it was truly him that made me happy. And I'm going to continue to keep that relationship regardless if it's been off and on, because of warring with being married, having children, going along this path, being on this journey has caused many roadblocks, little stumbling things set up. So I've had the war, I had to fight, I haven't had the opportunity. But now that the Most High is clearing my path, clearing my way, because I'm choosing to keep that strength and fighting, now I've been able to kind of release a lot of things that's been built up, kind of bring it out to the forefront, kind of just setting of who I am. I don't need no money. I don't do this for money. I use people's stuff. I can copyright. Y'all can get y'all proceeds. Y'all can get anything you need. I'm not doing this for funds. I'm not doing this for anything. I'm doing it for this because somebody needs to do it. I'm doing it for sound wisdom, to be put out there, to be heard, to be known, so people can know it's here, that it is someone. I don't need to flatter the tongue to get anything. Whatever you give, or whatever you want to give, I have my intro video with that on. But y'all also can call me if you need something. It works both ways. Oh, brothers and sisters, I'm not here to just get donations from you. I'm here to give you something too. I'm here to say I'm here in a time of need. I put some stuff aside if I cross anybody or y'all come to me, and I really putting this out here so y'all can know, because I never done this before. But brothers and sisters, I put a proportion from these stimulus check, whatever we get from the government. I mean, that's the least they can do while we're in poverty and we're going through stuff as a nation. But that's not all. We're lacking a lot of resources, a lot of things, but that's okay, because we're not going to let our poverty be our character, okay? So if any brothers and sisters need, you come to me privately in that email that I have. What's between me and you is between me and you. You ain't got to tell nobody I helped you, and I ain't got to tell nobody I helped you. I got a record book now. I didn't help one or two people so far. I mean, it is what it is. It ain't just for y'all giving me something. I want to give back to you too. I want to feed the flock with sound wisdom. I want to feed y'all with the sources you need. If I have it, it's all theirs anyway. It's a government dollar bill. It's the precious stuff. So it ain't tied to me. I could care less about it. You know what I'm saying? But I take care of my little needs and things that I can do. And like I say, I'm just letting the Most High exalt me. I'm letting the Most High bring whatever it is. Whatever's in anybody's heart to do or whatever. I'm just letting the pieces fall what they may. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting it happen, letting the Spirit do all things. I've been taken care of through all these 3 years, my faith. I have not lacked my basic resources of shelter, water, or food, or nor my kids. This whole time, he has made a way, has put people in the path, have used me of my wisdom, understanding he done gave me. You know, I mean, he has took in some through my husband hand. I have had it many ways, but mainly it's been the Most High providing for me when I gave up everything and sold things to follow him and to just make a difference and make a change and give my neighbor something that I felt like he didn't have. To scoop to his property, to let him know, I understand you. We can do this together. But I'm never going to be comfortable with you not fighting your demons. I'm not going to be comfortable and give you it's okay to be in your sin. I'm going to continue to encourage you. And I'm sorry and I apologize to my husband if you feel like you're misunderstanding me. This is who I am. I cannot turn off who I am. If I could turn off who I am, trust me, I had it was many times I sat between trees. I've sat in my car, by myself crying at the park. Many times I asked the Most High, why did you create me with this heart so big when all it does is eats me up? It eats me up when people can't reciprocate it back. But I can't stop giving. I can't stop loving. I can't stop being who I am. But it's hurting me. I'm feeling it. And I want them to understand. But I want them to do it for themselves. I want them to know you for themselves. I want them to submit just like I'm submitted, but I can't. I can't choose that for them. I can only be the guide. So I understand that. But it hurts because I'm a living soul. I'm a human being. I have feelings. I have emotions too. But I always put that on the side for some reason. And I've asked him, why did you give me this heart? And I asked him so many times, and surely he answered me, and I just be like, okay, I'm sorry, I repent, Father. That's wrong for me to do that. No, that's the negative thoughts trying to eat in. Hold on. And I'll say that's just the negative thoughts. I don't so much claim everything on the devil because I know I'm on my own being. I know that I have this flesh I'm living in. You know, Paul and a lot of more prophets understood the war between flesh and spirit. So I don't blame the devil for everything. You know what I'm saying? The devil is in all of us. It's that flesh and that spirit, that war. That's what it is. So at the end of the day, I repented it back to the Father, and I say, you know I shouldn't say that, but I'm just pouring out my heart. I talk to him like I would talk to any other human being, by myself. And so I've just let the Spirit guide me this far, and I've never been without my needs. I don't got all the wants I want, but I have gotten all the needs to just live day to day since I've gave up what I had and done what I needed to do. So at the end of the day, my husband feels like, because I want to, inspire, and I want to give my heart to the world. See, it's okay for me to give it to my family. It's okay for me to give it to you. It's okay for me to give it to, people around me that know me in my life. You know what I'm saying? As far as my family, my husband and me only been married about a year. December 31st made a year for us written contract. But we have known each other for 3 years. So it was my friend for a year and a half. We didn't even deal with each other. I always seen him as a friend. I've been that same friend since the beginning when you were going through your things. I'm that same friend. I look at you a friend and my neighbor first before I look at you as a title of a husband. Because I know it truly still lies with our covenant and our agreement with God. And that we should look at our spouses or anybody as our neighbor first. These titles has become with different type of meanings, and it has become confusion, and it has been used to do things against neighbors for obviously the reason of a title, which I don't deal by titles and I don't deal by images. Those are teaching. Those are guides to get to know what I'm talking about, or get to know me, or I'm a sister, I'm a mother, I have children. But all in all, my core being is who I am, and that's where I should stand at. So, for y'all, I cannot change who I am. All my life, I could not change who I am. My mother knows this now, and I respect you, and I'm grateful that you apologized. I feel like it was sincere, and I want to move on from the past. But, like I said, everything that happened in the beginning, it may be harder for my husband too, because of what he's seen. and what he knows. And it's okay, because I'm here on his side, because I understand all y'all viewpoints. But what I don't understand is why I cannot move forward and be who I am completely. Why is it such fear? Why? There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. Don't worry. I'm okay. But I just want y'all, I just mainly, like I said, I can't do nothing but be a guide. I can only give you understanding. I can only give you me, but I can't change who I am. For the Most High created me like this. And all I wanted y'all to ever see is that maybe she just this. Maybe she just really is this. Why would you want to beat my morals out of me? Why would you want to beat my values out of me? Why would y'all want... I don't understand that. I understand, Mom, how you feel to overprotected, you know, from things in your past and things you've been through as a child as well. And you want to be overprotected because you knew the heart I had. I gave my toys away when I was little all the time to girls that, you know, was in poverty. I always try to care for my friends or anybody I feel like, you know. I always just trusted people. That was just me. Until somebody show me proof of who they is, or I get to know them so I can judge them for myself, I kind of give the trust out front. That's just me. But I'm wiser now. I've grown to become more wiser through the trials, through my heart of going through things. So I know a better way of handling it. But even within that, that was who I was. That little girl is still here. I'm still her. I'm just growing in my wisdom. And I'm growing in my understanding. But I just always wanted to let y'all know that this is who I am. I can't change it. I mean, do I even want to? No. But what made me want to talk to the Most High and kind of get mad at him and we is because of the trials of life of people. People. Humans. Us, what we do to each other. The things is what really sets me off. No understanding. I don't like people that don't have understanding. Do I hate you? No, I don't like that you don't have understanding. We have been so badly talked about knowledge. Just seek knowledge. Knowledge is ruling the world. But nobody wants to talk about understanding. Nobody wants to talk about wisdom. Nobody wants to continue to let that grow. Speak more wisdom. Get more understanding about the things that we know. It's all about what we know. And that is why we continue to fall. Because the serpent knew good and evil knowledge. He created it. So at the end of the day, we need something that's stronger. And we need more knowledge. We need understanding. We need the Father's wisdom. We need that spirit to help us to continue. So I'm sorry that I chose this path to y'all. I'm sorry that I'm the type of person that keeps my agreement when I do agree to something. And my covenant with my God, I will obey to the end and always. So if this caused y'all to do me like Malcolm or Martin or Tupac or any of these brothers or these sisters or whatever, Mary Madden or whatever titles y'all hold of just died in a horrific way of just being who they are and standing on, hey, so be it. But if you can live with yourself that way. But I'm not going to change. I'm not. When I chose to live this purpose in life, I understood what Brother Yeshua was saying. I understood what Christ. I understood exactly what he was saying, and I understand it. And it comes with many trials and battles. But at the end of the day, I just always wanted y'all to understand, like, to just accept me for who I am and love me regardless. Give me some inspiration. Give me some hope. I've been through a tough time battling and warring with the world at things, not even saying the world, because world creation is not the problem. It's the people in the world. It's not creation. It's beautiful. It's the people. that did not want to abide by the creators or do not want to. That makes this world so terrible, so heartfelt. But at the end of the day, I get to still choose the morality decision for my life. And I'm sorry if my decision offend you, because maybe you could have made a better decision, or maybe you just fear to make a better decision. That's not my problem, that's yours. But at the end of the day, I would hope that y'all would treat me as y'all neighbor and love me. I forgive y'all. My parents, I love y'all. I forgive y'all. But I just love from a distance now. I appreciate y'all for opening the little shelter for me for right now. And y'all are home. Not y'all home, but you know, one of the little trailers down. You know, where I can have some peace and privacy. And my husband as well, which I feel like he should be more appreciated. Because we're here now. So we get to set a difference, and we get to allow them to set the difference, or things that they didn't that they can do now while they still live. So, but when you run away from your responsibility and you ain't ready to face yourself, that's going to be an issue. And it's going to continue to get worse, my dear, until you understand that. But I'm not going to change my covenant, which I can't do that. I'm not going to change my morality. I'm not going to change my wisdom. Because every woman is different. I'm sorry if it's kind of disturbing because you don't, you know, maybe not used to it. And it's okay. But I cannot go that low for the human being. This is low as I'm going to go. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And I'm not going lower than that, my brother, for anybody. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to continue to pray to the Spirit about some things. And whatever they decide for me to go, whatever they, you know, I will. I could get in my car and left and decided to. I was going to do. But I said, you know, I ain't going to run right now. I ain't going to lead. I'm not going to hide. You know what? No. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stay here where I got shit at. Why do I need to continue to leave my home, my areas, and things that I go for my husband or for anybody that don't like the way I live and want to attack where I'm at? No. I'm standing my ground, and that's all I can do right now is stand. Had some complication with two lesbians when I lived in Alabama. I had to do a police report of one lady that lived next to me that was a lesbian. They kind of crossed me, and I did not like it because I had to set her straight. This is another reason why I don't have women friends, because of the society we live in. One moment they're your friends, one moment they act like they on the right path and they gonna do right, and you know they understand it, and the next thing you know, when it comes to morality or something, and you want a prostitute, or you want me to be involved in this and that, or you want to no. Sorry, I took a small break, but basically what I was saying is that that's the reason why I don't have women friends, due to past experiences as well of the deceptive, the lies, the backbiting, the things that women I've seen do to me, and then me being kind of different, odd, or weird, or whatever they say. Kind of just like I said, my morality and my wisdom that I'm now grown into, but it was a process, but I've always been this, if you would say, this type of being. And so I'm not with lesbians. I'm not with prostitution. I never agreed to that. I never surrendered over that. Been in the way, and I've been in the midst of things. I've been among the sinners. I've did some sin, but I've never yielded myself to the flesh. I always fought to keep my spirit. And when I did that, I lost many friends. It's true. Like I said, I know from experience. I'm not talking something I could read out of a book. I can only confirm what I read and what I come about because I know from experiences. So at the end of the day, that's mainly why I don't have women friends, because they do start lusting too. We're living in this society these last days. I don't have men friends because I'm married now. My best friend, which is my husband, that was one of my best friends. We were real, real close. Never had sex with Jenna, nothing like that for over a year and a half. We just was best friends. And all my life I had male best friends. Some of them was gay. Some of them went through some hard things. But the Sons of Men's all I kind of really leaned toward more of in friendship because I wasn't kind of really just accepted in my own as, you know, as women. It was kind of different. But men have understanding, and I love understanding. I love knowledge. So he became my best friend at the time for years. My other best friends, the males, they kind of strayed off and got into sin and got into some dip things, or they got a woman, they got a girlfriend, and I said, okay, we can't, you know, be friends. So it was kind of like just scenarios like that kind of tore my best friends up that I had in junior high, but they know who they are. Shout out to y'all, you know. It's amazing, my journey and my growth that I came. I look back and I'm like, man, how did I make it through that? Even before I knew the knowledge of myself, like how it had to be something. Like I said, it just all makes sense now. But I appreciate that, all the love, all the things of inspiration that y'all say behind closed doors if you're praying for me, or anything y'all say of comments. Like I said, I hope to reach y'all all. I hope to enlighten the souls, like I said, to make a conscious decisions. And when you in that dark, to keep your wisdom, keep your understanding, and knowing that it's a better way. It's gonna be a better way. I'm doing this because I would love for the head that for me. Only my God been there. I mean, that's enough for me. But at the same time, with life, for my neighbor could have done a lot more of paper I crossed paths. They could have done that for me to be the one to do that. So at the end of the day, it's okay because I rejuvenate. I usually heal myself. Things get better. But I just wanted to say this to y'all because I really, really mean it. So in Alabama, I had a case against her or whatever. And then when I worked at a military base in the federal government, I had another incident with a young lady that was a lesbian. And like I said, I got my 5-page. I ended up having to go to the head, send a report, write a report about it. I ended up quitting that job. But I loved it working at the military base in Alabama. It was fun. But like I said, I guess the girls got intimidated, you know. I was a good worker. I put my all in anything I do. I perfect it, and I put my all and I put my will in it. And, you know, I'm a great worker. So, like I said, it was a good experience. But I had a little incident with one of the lesbians there. So, like I say, it was 2 black women. And it's a shame my color nation of women is like this. It's a shame that they all do this to one another. But more so, I've seen it on levels where they all get together and gang up against me. I've had to fight physically. Like I said, I'm a spiritual warrior, but most I know how much I done came with my anger, y'all. When I say the words used to piss me off, my mother would say, oh no, as long as nobody hit you. No. Mother wisdom tells you about that tongue. Life and death is in it. I didn't have to react several times or responded. And not saying that was right sometimes, because as I got older, I knew I had to be more in control of my actions as well. I've got to that level, but it was sometimes where I took all I could took with them words and the bullets, and it's like, you know, and then just, I was a fighter. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I physically, I had to, you know what I'm saying, do what I had to do. I ain't scared of that. So I'm not scared of any woman that's telling me they're from the Nation of Islam and they're going to come after me, or you're going to kill with the sword to do something. Okay, I'm not scared of your old woman. I'm a woman in my youth. I got much strength. And I got it spiritually too. So I'm not scared of anybody that comes toward me or find out no address of where I stay and trying to do some harm, because I got me 2 guns, I got a sword, and I got this Bible, and I got my spiritual protection. So I'm going to be all right, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to die, and I'm going to take some up with the maker for judgment as well. If they come on my property or inside some of I stay in, which I have no property. I don't own nothing on earth. I don't even look at it like that. But if you come in my area of my privacy and come from somewhere else, yes, I do what I got to do. And I'd be glad to lay down my life for that. But at the end of the day, I'm just letting y'all know that I've came so far from that. Now I'm a spiritual warrior. But don't get it twisted. But I'm not with all that. I'm not the same teenager girl I was. I'm able to understand more of my emotions now. And a lot of things I understand that the Most High was putting me through to try me. And I'm glad that I fought to keep faith in Him. Because if I didn't, those things could have tore me down. Oh yes, they could have tore me down. I'm talking about spiritual things I had to deal with as well. Physical things. A warring against me and all my life started with my brother. So it's not a really... That right there, for as physical wise, I could do harm if I wanted to. But I believe in thou shalt not kill. But like I said, I also know that the mother wisdom, and I know the instructions, I know more knowledge too, is common reason and common sense of what you should do when your life is at harm. If you got a gun right there and somebody come in your house and they got a gun, you telling me you're going to turn the other cheek and thou shalt not kill when you obviously got something right there that can protect your life. That person didn't keep their agreement. They didn't obey God. See, these laws and commandments is for everybody, whether they're following or not. You see why the world is like it is, whether they know it or not, because it's truth. It's truth. And look at the world now, for people not following the commandments or going toward the laws and trying to get some more and get some values and keep this. Look at it now. So when you cross that breach of my God and you don't want to obey what He already said for, then guess what? Boom. Death. So you cross that boundary, you go to somebody's house and try to steal a horn there, and on the end of the day you get your life taken. That's you. That's on you. That's on your body. You breached that. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt love your neighbor. All these things matter. But you see people getting killed. You see people going through things. Why? Because you have people that holds it up, and then you have people that don't. And the two, what? They're going to war. Because one's standing on this and one's standing on that. It's unequally yoked. You're not agreeing. So yeah, you should have submission. I do agree with Malcolm X, Brother Malcolm, on submission. But I do want to drop a few things too that would add to his knowledge, or more knowledge that maybe he didn't get to a point. Because like I said, he died. He was getting to it. He denounced Islam. He was getting to it. All right. But I'll finish off for, even my brother Tupac. I'll finish off where they left off if I have to. And I will hope any brothers and sisters is out doing the same. Shout out to y'all. Finish what our great people have already put the way in a sacrifice. Let's finish it as a whole. Let's do it as assembly and do it in love. So at the end of the day, we can be counted one of the righteous. We can be accounted worthy. So I'm just going to say this, what he said. Yes, we have to be submissive to this law and this commandment. Yes, we have to hold ourselves up, and we do have to listen to mother wisdom instructions. We do have to follow that law that's given. It's for our good. All right, but what he don't understand is that Abraham was the father of faith. But you got to understand, who was Abraham's first child? See, my Israelites brothers or Hebrews, or all these camps or organization of Christians, I'm speaking to anybody that I guess still have a form of belief in the word. Abraham's first son was who? Ishmael. That's just like my mother had 7 kids. I'm her 7th child. My sister is the first child. Now, my sister was being the first child. I don't know how old she is. They say she's 47 or whatever. May got a different law or commandment or teaching or whatever from my parents than I did, right? Or it could be if my parents both agree on one thing and they pass it on to her, they pass it on to all their kids during the generation, right? But it's always gonna be something different through all your kids, because there's no way we all can have the same child with the same spirit. And some of them, like I said, from the beginning, sin came through the woman. You're gonna have some spirit children, you're gonna have some flesh children, you're gonna have some evil children, you're gonna have some good children. You shouldn't be naive to this. Yes, they're your children, you love them, but you got to accept the truth of what it is. Alright? And that's all I want them to know. You got to accept the truth of what it is. You're going to teach all your kids this, right? Even if they're in different age as you, y'all on the same thing, you're going to teach all your kids that, right? Same way with Abraham. Ishmael was what? Between 11 or 13 when Isaac came in the scene, right? So Ishmael had a better understanding and knowledge of his father because he was the first child. He was his first. So of course he got the law and commandments and things. Why you think, like I said again, the Quran is a lot like the Bible. It's alike the same. On a lot of it corresponds parallel with some things. Why? Because Abraham's first son was Ishmael. He did give him the law and the commandments and try to do the best with all his children that he had with 3 women. Just like Mother Eve had 3 children. Seth, Abel, and Cain. Even though one died. Abraham 3 wives. Okay. And after Sarah died, he remarried. So that's why the Most High counted said, even our father of faith waited till his wife died to marry another. We already know the story, how it happened with Hagar. What he listened and he hearkened to. Like Adam hearkened to Eve. And we all came through all this bondage. Okay? So at the end of the day, he would have more knowledge. He would have the understanding a little bit more than his brother. But at the same time, he wouldn't. Because the same father bloodline he came from as well. The same understanding. So what made these two boys different? The mothers. It didn't come from the same womb. Okay? So at the end of the day, this is the missing piece, and this is the understanding I'm trying to get to anybody following the religion. It is a religion, just like Malcolm said about broke down all the other religions of Christianity, all the standpoint. It's the same thing. The Father never called anything of Islam. Yeah, we are to submit to his law and commandments. He gave us commandments and laws. He's our supreme government. You know what I'm saying? He gives it to us in the way he gives it to us. Parallel, symbolic, or whatever. But he gave it to us plain simply, the commandments and laws. He's not that hard, but however the world has made it be so hard. Because of the religions of men want to go their own way and form their own religion and be like God because they're in the image. So I'm going to do what I want to do. He gave me this authority. And he allows y'all to create alongside. He allows y'all to do things. But at the end of the day, he is Alpha and he's Omega. And if you go against his wisdom and his more instruction, you're going to fall. I don't care if you're the biggest of the biggest, the king of the kings. It is what it is. Everybody has to go through this process. And everybody got to take heed to those instructions and those commandments. As it will be spiritual and physical death. You may say, oh, I done did it for 10 or 15 years and nothing done happen. Okay, but your time will come. Some get there sooner than the other. It depends on the sin of the death and how many spirits they're dealing with too. So I've already explained that. And y'all just posted the Holy Spirit of Wisdom video 6. So I was able to work on that and get that done. And it's going to air Saturday at 7. The reason why I do Saturday at 7 because I know it's kind of like the midday. And we done went into the Sabbath overnight. And so it's just like a start in the morning to get off with. You can just put it on, you know, on the Sabbath. Not saying that the biblical Sabbath is not still sundown to sundown. It's still in that hours of timing of calls and to give you some inspiration. So I encourage y'all all to turn it on. It's just 15 minutes. I cannot, you know, each Saturday I try to have one that's 15 minutes with something of educational purpose, something of inspiration, and something to keep us on a path to instruct us to stay on once we chose this. So at the end of the day, that's what it's about. But like I'm going to get back to what I was saying though. So I'm filling the pieces of certain things he didn't say that adds back to the faith of what I hold. So yes, Everybody worried about Esau, the white man, Christianity, and that has been our downfall as people while we're still warring. Because this is Islamic or with the Arabs, which they had us in slavery before the white man. And theirs were way more brutal. We got freedom in America. Has it been this really bad under the white man as it was with, see, I probably can't even remember that past going your DNA and tap on it or whatever. Maybe some of y'all can. But when you can read the history, like he said, know your history and compares this. It's all evil. At the end of the day, it's all evil and it was all wrong. But what sense do we keep on saying Esau when we're not dealing with Ishmael? Ishmael was born before Esau. Do you not understand this? Everything's going back to the beginning. The war. And whatever it is was in the beginning is going to be in the end. And you shall know the truth and it shall set you free. So this is just clarity and I'm not going to keep saying it. So like I say, if you want to do me like Malcolm, do me like anybody, because I'm speaking against what and finishing what he was denouncing and what he knew coming into. And not just him. I just use him since everybody used that figure in our nation. And, you know, it's a common figure. And he is loved by many of us because he did speak with a lot of understanding and a lot of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And for my generation, we didn't get it at all in the 90s. So we have to go back in time. We got to go see where did he get to this point of a black young woman and a black young man? Why is the roles switched up? How did he get it? It just didn't get over this overnight. Oh, me and my husband know exactly what we deal with. Like I said, it was up to the parents. It was up to the generations before us to give us what we should have had. And it wasn't. So a lot of us had to seek of our own. A lot of my youth I done lost to the sin. They're in the devil. They don't care no more. They're not looking. They totally rebelling because of what the elders chose not to do with living their life in the world when this world system was going. I hope this gave a lot to reflect with our elders and the ones that still what has happened. And our youth is pissed. They're mad and they're angry. Like Malcolm ex-daughter said, I'm agreeing. It's a lot. And as a youth, me being a young woman, I could sit here, you could talk to me and I'll tell you exactly. Coming from the word point of view, from having wisdom point of view, and from the knowledge point of view, and also the history point of view, to why this war exists. And why, as the young man and young black man and a young black woman is facing death rate all over, closer than ever, more than ever. Why are we losing our youth to this? Why? To the drugs, to the domestic violence, to the strife, faster than ever. Because somebody did not give them. Everybody don't have their own mind or don't have the spirit of journey through. Some people do need to be instructed. Some people do need to be taught. So it's very important. And for elders to think that they're going to get out of their sins just because you believe in the faith and you know who you are now. No. Your sins are for your children and how you have done it. You have to pay for that. It doesn't matter if you came in the truth 10 years, 5 years, or another year and you did not know then. Surely we still had morality. Surely the spirit inside us told us what's right or wrong. I mean, come on. Even when we was Christians. Or even when we was dealing with Baptists or anything. See, we have a spirit. How I can talk right now to y'all, how I can express this art, it's coming from a spirit. We all have it. It says the Most High breathed his spirit into Adam and he became a living soul. He wasn't a living soul until he got the spirit. We all have Mother Wisdom's spirit. We all have that Holy Spirit in us. And it needs to be rebuked. Sometimes it needs to be changed. Not for us change. I'm going to say a better word. I'm sorry, guys. It needs to be revived. It needs to be renewed. It needs to be transformed again. When we have dealt so much with sin or something that came. We need that. Alright? But we all have our individual spirit from creation that made us of a living soul. That tells us that thing is wrong. We know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not making excuses and I'm not judging you also. And I'm not condemning you for the mistakes. But let's understand that. Just understand what's going on with the youth. Understanding it. That's all. Just understanding and being there and knowing what's existing. And not being naive and blinded. And putting as if it's their fault to everything that goes on. No. Some of this stuff is not. And then you have older men and older women want to come into our generation, sleep with the youth, play with the youth mind, do all types of things with the youth that they're not supposed to do. Like Mother Wisdom said about the adulterous woman that left her covenant of God. This is a adulterous woman on her. So at the end of the day, this is the older. This is why she said I'm giving a young person discretion, because you need to know her in your youth. Right now, the decision I make can affect me when I'm 40. When I'm 35, I understood that though. I understood that back then when I was like, yeah. So it affects me. So I want to be wise in my youth. I'm glad that I'm picking it up and being wise in my youth, because everybody should have did it in their youth. You should seek to understand. You should have seek wisdom. I know I didn't want to get married too young. I'm glad I waited till 26. I always told myself 25 with one kid. Haha, this would be crazy how it work. If it actually work out. Like, but I got two. Like I said, one by default. Father, no. But all in all, I was always striving to keep my perfection and keep my spirit and try to keep that going, no matter how bad I fall off on it or how bad I get dirty, because I'm in there in the sin with this person. I'm going through my own. I'm learning, growing too. How dare I stay in this? I'm gonna keep going too. I never let the sinners pull me down to their point to keep me there. I'm gonna keep on fighting. I want you too. You too. But I can't help it if some of them lost the battle along the way. But it came a time where I had to choose, evil communicates corrupt good manners. I'm tired of getting pulled back in this, man. I got to change my environment. I got to change my friends, man. I'm really going to try to live better. I can't even really, I try my best. But they never want to do the things I like to do. They never wanted to hear my instruction or my moral or my little wisdom I could share, like, hey, hey, let's do better. It's always on their world stuff. They want to talk about all about what they can get, and I just wasn't that type of materialistic woman on those chords. So at the end of the day, I'm here now, and I still got some things that I can work on, that I am working on, and as well as my husband is not perfect as well. I can see him say this over and over again, but I guess he doesn't believe me that I'm definitely working on things. And I want him to too. And this is just the type of friend I am. Baby, you knew me when you met me. This type of friend, I'm going to have you back. And we weren't even dealing. But you know that's how I am. I want to have you back. I want to push forward. But I need my space at times. Okay? But at the end of the day, I got to believe truth. And he said what he said. And at the end of the day, I got to continue to go. I cannot forsake my covenant with God, for this is the reason why I can give you me. This is why I can be the woman I am. It is not you, my husband, or any man that makes me who I am. It's my God that makes me who I am. So if I know that and I'm getting myself together, then I can be a better wife. I can be a better mother, a better friend, a better sister. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So at the end of the day, I cannot forsake my God. I'm not spending my life no more with the world things and what they got going on. I hardly want to watch TV now because it's such a confusion, such much fear, energy, of fear being spread. And right now I'm kind of like nonchalant on it. So I'm just looking at a better way. So enough about me. But I really wanted to put this in because I don't know when the next time I'll be able to talk to y'all. It's been like 5 days, 6 days. Like I said, I'm just standing my ground. I'm in this war. And I'm going to continue to do as much as I can do when the Spirit moves me to do it. That's the thing. I wait till the Spirit moves me to do things and what I can do and what I can say at the time. And so I really wanted to get this out and let y'all know that it's not about y'all donating to me. I haven't gotten out one yet. I don't care to. I don't want to put that out. Like I said, I just, look on my page. Go through my things. You'll see where it's at. But at the end of the day, it's more about me giving too. What can I do to help you, my brothers and sisters? If it's something in need, just come and email me. Let me know privately or whatever. I gave just a few people my number. Sisters and brothers, but I don't really have it publicly on my YouTube, and I'm not, because I probably would be getting private calls like I did one time. Somebody got my number and was really stalking me and stalking me and things like that, and probably on private. So I try not to do that. Just communicate with me. All I can say is that you gotta trust me. It's hand in hand. So at the end of the day, as Peter didn't, and he started to fall in the water. But you have to trust, and you have to have strong faith that no, I'm here, and we're not going to waive it. We're going to keep going. So, with that being said, Ishmael did enslave his brother Isaac. At the end of the day, he did not keep the commandments, but God already knew what things was going to come, and that's why he said that the covenant is going to be with Isaac. The covenant is going to be with Isaac, his bloodline. Abraham bloodline was going through Isaac. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Ishmael set up Islam. It doesn't matter if you have the much knowledge more than Christianity, brother Esau. It doesn't matter, none of that, because the covenant was established with Isaac, period. And it shall be and forever will be. So, and it was not no specifically Islam that Abraham followed. No, it was commandments. It was the spirit. It was instructions. It was everything part with the Creator. It had nothing to do with just a religious title. It had nothing to do with just knowledge. It was wisdom in that. He followed wisdom, instructions, and guidance. Like I said, our God is a moral knowledge. Not just knowledge, not just good and evil knowledge. He's a moral knowledge. He has wisdom with him. Like he said, the two became one. So at the end of the day, I want y'all to understand that, you know, brothers and sisters, the differentiation, because it's so easy to get deceived and it sounds so good, and it do, but it's not the way. You can get the history, you can get the knowledge because it's good. It goes along. They were brothers. Abraham. Then not only did Ishmael, Isaac was the only child. He had 6 boys with his second wife, Keturah. So if they came over with religion, hey, I'll still say the same thing. The covenant went to Isaac, and it was never a religion. This is spiritual.